Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And our team since 2020 has reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And I really feel very happy to be blessed with that opportunity. I also am a content contributor and a member of the advisory board of something called Indie Soup Media. Indie Soup Media is a platform for independent content creators to share their broadcasts, video broadcasts, and that's powered by our good friend in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Dr. Tachi. So if you want to find out more about that platform, go to indiesoupmedia.tv. And yes, Indie Soup Media has been around for a little over 4 months, 14,000 YouTube subscribers. Amazing, amazing. So Ryan is not with me today. He said he had to cover for a detail nights assignment. So he is not going to be with us. Just me today. Can you handle me? Can you handle me? Just want to say a few things. It's a long weekend coming up here in Canada. So on Monday, we'll be running a repeat of the Morning Vibe. So just FYI, we'll be broadcasting. We just won't be live. So let's see. We already got comments up. Fitness IQ says, morning. She is in the house. And hey, chime in where you are from, where you're chiming in from. Please do that, so we can give you some respect and props on the Morning Vibe. So a few things, housework. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button if you can. As I said, we're less than 30 subscribers away to going to 1,500 subscribers. So if you are up to it, would love to have you subscribe to the Morning Vibe Show on YouTube to get us that 1,500 subscribers. Also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe@vibeshow.com. And then join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Please email me, dr.vibe@vibeshow.com. Oh, we got another comment coming in. Fitness IQ says, East Toronto, Scarberia. That is where she's chiming in from. Good to have you here this morning. We did Indie Soup Media. We did that. Oh, so we got some program alerts. So we're broadcasting live at 9:03 a.m. on June 18th. So if you're available today at 11 a.m. on most of the platforms that I broadcast on, in fact, all I broadcast on, I will have the Honorable Kamal Khera, Canadian Minister of Diversity, Inclusion, and Persons with Disabilities. Let me say that again. The Honorable Kamal Khera, Canadian Minister of Diversity, Inclusion, and Persons with Disability, will be on the Dr. Vibe Show. She's going to be talking about the Liberal government. The federal government has just released a new or updated anti-racism policy. So if you're available, would love to have you in session on that. Then live tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. So that leads into some of the things I want to see what's going on in the world today. Hey, Wayne Harris, good morning. Saga in the house. Yes, Mrs. Saga. And Wayne, I'm sure you're still living in the joy of having your son walk across that stage. So that is good stuff. So a few things. I want to go what's going on with you. And if you have any plans, if you're in Toronto for the long weekend. I don't plan to do too much because traffic's too messed up in Toronto for me to really travel anywhere. So, hey, and speaking about Wayne Harris, Ray McMillan, a week ago today, had a epic conversation, the first episode of Black Belt Conversations. We had an offline debrief earlier on this week, and it was fire. Can't wait till the next time. And also, a week from today, Wayne is going to be on talking about financial concepts, part 1. So make sure you catch that. Make sure you catch that big time. Let's see what else going on in the comment stage. Roger Dundas says, good morning. Good morning, Roger Dundas. We had another great conversation yesterday, Roger, myself, and in the background, his beautiful wife, First Lady of Media, I like to call her, Camille Dundas. Also, Fitness IQ says it was amazing indeed. Yes, last Friday's conversation on Black Belt Conversations was epic. It was really, really good. There we go. It was amazing indeed. There you go. All right. What's everyone thinking about, talking about? A number of things. So in the last week, both leaders, the leaders of Canada and the United States, are in troubled waters. So here in Canada, the Liberal Party, the Federal Liberal Party, lost a by-election in a riding in downtown Toronto that, if I'm not mistaken, they have been in control of for 30 years. 30 years they've been in control of this riding, and they lost it to the Progressive Conservatives. So my question is the Prime Minister of this country in trouble? A lot of people, offline conversations they're having with me, said, Pierre Trudeau's done. Liberal Party's done. Is this the nail in the coffin, even though there's another election scheduled sometime next year in 2025? That's one thing. On the other end, I didn't watch it last night. I've been reading and listening to things about last night's U.S. presidential debate. A lot of people think that Joe Biden did not look good at all. Not look good at all. He's saying he's old. I did hear some reports and listen to some reports that he was meandering, and and that's probably the biggest challenge that President Biden has to deal with, people criticizing that he's old, even though 45, his opponent, is 3 years younger than him. It was quite an interesting contrast listening to them last night in audio clips. And NPR, which I listen to periodically, they quoted something that Bill Clinton said a number of years ago. Do you want a president or leader that is strong and not telling the truth, or weak and talks the truth? So if you're looking at a leader, do you want someone who is strong, who's not telling the truth? Well, a number of people feel 45. I don't say that president's name, by the way. Or do you want someone like Joe Biden, who is softer, but apparently does tell the truth? Which one would you want? And then here in Toronto yesterday, don't know if people heard, one of the biggest news stories in the African Canadian community, I think right across Canada over the last year, is the BBPA and Nadine Spencer. Allegations of her just let's leave it at that. But one of the things that people may or may not have realized until recently, she was a member, was back in 2023, elected to the Toronto Police Board. And the Toronto Police Board is basically the board that sort of runs things for Canada's largest police force, which is in Toronto. Well, yesterday, Ms. Spencer was kicked off the police board in a unanimous vote by the board without any debate. So it goes on. It goes on. So let's go back here. Ray McMillan Group Mortgages and Real Estate says, good morning and a happy and safe Canada weekend to all. Same to you, even though Ray's not in Canada now. Fitness IQ goes, not softer. I don't know what you mean by not softer. Don't know what that comment means. So certainly up to date on that. Oh, okay. Oh, I get what you mean now. Not softer, meaning that you don't want a soft leader. So do you want a leader that's strong and doesn't tell the truth? Well, in other parables, people say, how many politicians do tell the truth? That's a whole other conversation. So would like to get that poll. Whether do people in Canada think the clock is ticking for Trudeau? Or did I say Pierre? It's Justin Trudeau. Why did I say Pierre Trudeau? That's his father, Justin Trudeau. And do people think the clock is ticking also for President Biden? In a year and a half's time, are we going to live in, if you're in North America, we're going to be living in a state where it's a progressive conservative government in Canada, and it's a conservative government in the United States. So Fitness IQ says, lesser than evil, I guess softer. I would love to get Ray McMillan, Roger Dundas, Wayne Harris. What are your takes on this? Because you guys are, even though Roger wasn't on the show, I consider you guys part of the Black Belt conversation posse. What do you think? I know what two of you told me offline, but I'm not going to speak for you. if you want, you can speak online if you wish. But yeah, it's very interesting. And the situation with the Dean Spencer continues, and what is going to happen next. So I've had a number of offline conversations about BBPA, etc. Roger Dundas says truth prevails always. All right, good stuff. Yeah, the truth always wins in the long run. In the long run, it may take some time, but in the long run, it always hits up right. Okay, no one else wants to comment? Are y'all staying quiet? Ooh, don't know why you're staying quiet, but hey, that is your choice. Big time, big time. So I think what we're going to do, since you all are quiet and you're just staying shh today, I will go to a break. And when we come back, Minnie St. is going to be back. She was back on about a week or two ago, and she's going to be coming back today about disabilities and entrepreneurship, the challenges and the opportunities. Oh, Heather Harris. Check it out. Heather Harris is in the house. Great morning from the DMV. What is up? Heather Harris, you are living in the United States. What are people saying in your area about the last night's debate? Wayne Harris says the USA president will be the person who makes the fewest missteps between now and November. Too early to call. This is interesting, Wayne. Do you think that based on Biden's performance last night, I don't know how much you saw, was it too far of a misstep? Because again, a lot of criticism about him not being strong enough. And actually some members of the Democratic Party are saying, you know something, Joe Biden may not be our man. Heather Harris says, yes, it was a disaster. Wow. So as Mr. Biden really now basically put nails in his own coffin, I would love to be a fly on the wall today on the conversations in the high levels of the Democratic National Party represents. What are they talking about? So I know in the next debate, Joe Biden's got to come out swinging from what I hear and see. He's got to hit for the home run. And, and another thing, I don't know how much people know about, there's a document called Project 2025. Google it, read it. It's very interesting. And that's where the hardcore conservatives and Republicans want to take the United States. Heather Harris said she watched the whole thing. Wow. It was a disaster. Wow. Heather, so is it a disaster because of both men or Biden's performance? A lot of people I've been hearing too said that Biden looked old and whatever, and 45 was full of lies. Okay, and Heather Harris says the next move on part of the Democratic Party was critical. 100%. And she said both of them. She said both 45 and Biden. And I just wonder, the two people running for president of the United States, is that the best the United States can do? Really? Wow. That's, from my lens, that's really concerning. If that's the best that American can produce. All right, we're going to take a break. Thank you for people for chiming in on what's going on in the world today. And we're going to be back in 2 minutes. Oh, we got one more comment. Let's see who's up. Okay, Dr. Tachi's in the house. Good morning, Dr. Tachi. Hope you are fine. Hope Indie Soup Media is fine. And also Heather Harris says, no, it's ego. Well, we know that 45 has an ego to you. So you think that Biden has an ego too? Is it as big as 45, but he suppresses it? Interesting. All right, let's go to commercial break. We'll be back with Minnie St. talking about disabilities and entrepreneurship in about 2 minutes. Keep it locked, keep it strong, and the morning vibe on June 28th. And thank you for everyone that's here this morning.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. Now, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the just people that, don't always represent the best of us, the diversity, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
really
Vibe
should.
he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe. If you see him in the chat, and Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I got to say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, V-I-B-E. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy.
Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. As always, shout out to Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. And I like being called an intelligent Black man. Thank you. I received that. Dr. Boyce. All right. Just before we get going, a few more things. Again, coming up today live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I will be speaking with the Honorable Kamal Khera, Canada's Minister of Diversity, Inclusion, and Persons with Disabilities on the Dr. Vibe Show. So basically, wherever you're watching this now, I'll be live at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, and she's going to be talking about the federal government, federal Liberal Party's new updated anti-racism policy. And again, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala, and they're going to go in regards to last night's presidential debate. Make sure you keep it locked if you're available. Before I bring Minnie up, a few more things that's going on in my world. First things first, I have a concern about the amount of gun violence that's going on in Toronto. A number of years ago, there was a lot of gun violence during the summer, and it was regarded as the summer of the gun. Well, it's coming. It hasn't really left, but it's amplified again. And I was having conversations with one or two people this week about the huge concern about gun violence in Toronto, and a lot of the gun violence and gangs in Toronto. Yes, we have gangs in Toronto, and some of the people that are being arrested as young as 14 years old shooting. What's going on? I was listening to these individuals this week who are telling me, I don't know. I'm a little bit at a loss. I'm very disappointed. I'm concerned because a lot of the perpetrators look like us. What is going on with the area of gun violence? I'm going to be doing a show in the next few weeks with some gentlemen who have been involved, and ladies maybe also too, hopefully, that have been involved in this gun culture, who are maybe involved in the gun culture of Toronto, and find out why, what, where, what's going on. So I just need to get that out. And also this week, I have to say thank you, and I won't go give people's names. This week has been a week where more people have just called to see how I'm doing. That I said, what's going on? I don't know, but a lot of people just calling me up and saying, how are you doing? So for those who do that, I appreciate you. You don't have to, you're not obligated to, but I appreciate that 150%. So I do my best for myself and some people, not everybody, to help you score goals and get wins. So thank you for the people who check on me. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. So wanted to get that off my chest and out of my heart. All right, a few more comments before we're going forward. Opal Inspired is in the house, says Project 25 is fairly normal stuff for the Republican Party. It's interesting, but the Heritage Foundation related groups have been creating dossiers for his president for a while. And then Shirley Justin says, good morning, everyone. Good morning. There are a pile of people watching today, so chime in from wherever you are. Fitness IQ says, it's sad, gun violence. It is sad. And then finally, what is this? What is the environment that is cultivating gun violence locally and internationally? That's a whole other conversation topic. From my lens, what I think is capitalism, greed, money, systemic racism, whole pile of things. But we'll get to that. So I'm glad that people are onto that. All right. She is back. Minnie St. Clair. What's going on, Minnie St. Clair? You got to unmute yourself. There we go.
Yay.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good. What's been going on in your world?
I went through urgent care with CAMH. They don't have a psychiatrist for me, so I'm on my own.
Wow. Wow.
And the way you're talking about gun violence, it's a mental health issue. We don't have enough psychiatrists that recognize culturally what our mental illnesses are, because the Black community, either they don't go to therapy and they express that unmet need with violence. It's always going to be related to disability. It's just what it is, because the level of too many people are homeless, they become easy targets, then people have guns. Like the teenager of girls that decided to kill a homeless man.
Yeah.
So we need more supports in disability. It's just
okay. I will agree with you that mental health, but I think also economics plays a part in that too.
Which is still disability, because they are the most people in poverty.
I think we're talking about the same thing, but coming at it two different ways. Economics leads to lack. Lack leads to I got to survive. I got to do something, which also leads to questionable behavior. Let me just put it that way. Right. So I think to me, it's unfortunately, as I say, we live in a capitalist society. There's good about capitalism, but we're more and more seeing about the downside of capitalism. Fitness IQ Cam says morning Minnie. And also Heather Harris says media. She says media is part of the contributor too. And then Heather Harris says, excellent point, Ms. St. Clair. It's part of the problem. So you maybe you should be campaigning in the US.
No, their disability policy is worse.
Okay.
I didn't watch the debate, but I did watch snippets on Twitter, and a lot of people that have disabilities, they're literally going to throw us on the bus because they don't want to support people with a disability. They're going to make it harder for us to apply. They're going to question for how disabled enough are we. They're still going to make us feel less than because we have a disability and we already have daily challenges already that they're not funding. They're cutting us first, or they're pushing us to do medical assisted in dying. So no, politics don't support people with disabilities. They find the cheapest way to give us our bare minimum and then blame it as our problem. I didn't ask for my disability. I didn't ask for lesions in my spine. I didn't ask to go to urgent care. I didn't ask to get psychologically evaluated. I didn't ask to take psychotics every day. And they're expensive. I can't magically pull money out of my butt to pay for these things. So no, politicians, I don't like them. I really don't. The words coming out of their mouth is, I have privilege, 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 too bad for you, and I'll step on you. That's what they do.
All right. Okay. I almost feel that I should have you on with Minister Kara at 11 o'clock, but that...
No, I don't like her. I do not like her. That would be a
Okay.
problem. I do not like her.
Okay. All right. Tell us how you really feel. All right. So let me ask you something. We're going to be talking about disability and entrepreneurship today. You know what? Why don't you share some of your entrepreneurial background? How did you become an entrepreneurship?
I became an
Involved.
entrepreneur because I wanted to become a porn star. So it's just the
Okay.
shortest version, the shortest path to me making my own money in my own name is because I was unable to live at home. I moved out of home. In the back of the newspaper had a lot of jobs for adult entertainment. I picked the one for webcam, which was the safest, but it felt like a low amount of risk. And then it had its own set of risks when I moved into that house. And I used that mess into a message of making more money.
Okay. And what inspired you to start your own business despite your challenges with disability?
Being rejected from employment because of my disability. The amount of times, if you go into a job interview and if you're experiencing symptoms of your disabilities. For me, it's post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety. So with those things, those symptoms, my hygiene usually goes first. So if I go into a job interview and my hair doesn't look good, or if my clothes have holes in it, or my shoes have holes in it, they're not going to hire me because I don't represent well for the company, and then I don't represent well for the candidate they're looking in the job. So then I don't get the job.
Mhm.
So just that of like being told, oh, try again, make your resume, do this, do that, when welfare at that time was $500 a month. But that's supposed to take care of all of your needs, everything you need, get back out there and get into a job. That's impossible on $500. I don't know who thought that number, but that number doesn't get anybody re-employed if they lost their job or they came from a toxic home environment, a violent home environment, to being on their own.
Okay. All right. And not only yourself, you shared some of your journey. What are some of the unique challenges people with disabilities face when it comes to entrepreneurship?
So entrepreneurship is a whole different mindset. You're doing everything. You're the employee, you're the employer, you're marketing, you're accounting, you're compliance, you're legal. So with a disability, depending on your disability, you may not have all the executive function to do all of those tasks that you need to be able to make money in your business that you can live off of. And it's not just make money in the business. Your business becomes your dependent because the business needs its own living expenses, it needs its own bank account, it needs its own documents. And then you also have to take a portion of your business into your personal income, your household income, to also support your living expenses, your investments. You basically become two people when you run a business. And a lot of people, depending on their disability, they're not able to do the executive functions of running entrepreneurship. But for me, I was already an entrepreneur. It was just I became disabled, and then it was, what do I need to do to become stable enough to become employed enough where I'm self-employed again so that I can take care of my income needs and then my lifestyle needs.
When you first got into entrepreneurship, well, you said you entrepreneurship, then the disability started to settle in. What were the early days like being an entrepreneur and with disability? How was it, especially emotionally?
It was just hard because the industry I picked for adult entertainment, a lot of people don't think it's a real job when it's an industry that's been going on since the 1800s. And then now that we have adult videos, we have DVDs, we have VHS, we have the internet, it's still a thriving business. It's still one of the billion-dollar industries that we have. So I'm in an industry that requires me to be high performance, requires me to look a certain way, aesthetically pleasing, and requires me to actually understand my contracts or understand my work environment, make decisions for myself. Then I'm having friends and family who think, oh, I'm just having sex all day. No, there's so many other things that I have to think about to be able to be like in an industry that's based on superficial standards and appearance on a adult sexual arousing way. So to do all those things, I had to either focus on my work or change my whole personality and demeanor to make other people happy that don't care what happened to me tomorrow morning.
Okay, we have lost connection with Minnie. Are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay, yeah, you froze a little bit for a second, so that's good. Okay, you're still with us. Good stuff. Um, how have you overcome these challenges in your entrepreneurial journey?
Um, well, part of it was knowing the policy for social assistance and then not letting other people have a vote in how I live. Because the way politically and people's views of disability is not changing, but it's becoming more negative and becoming more difficult. So I just had to focus on what I can do and go with the mentality I will and I can. because with everything I have between working at adult entertainment, living with a disability, being Black, people literally look at me that I'm supposed to fail. Like I can't, they don't live here. They didn't make me breakfast. I made me breakfast. They're they're not doing the budgeting. I'm doing the budgeting. They're not going to the chiropractor and said I brought my notes from my MRI scans so we can determine the best course of treatment to manage my pain with multiple sclerosis. I'm doing that. They're not remembering I have to do blood work next month. I'm doing that. They're not remembering that I have to hire a private nurse to do my colonoscopy next month. I'm doing that. So I literally can't have other people with an opinion for a life they don't live.
And how do you deal with those opinions that can still continue to probably come to you?
I tell them they're wrong and they're not helping. Like I flat out just reject their advice. I reject everything that comes out of their mouth if they're not helping. And I don't feel like they feel bad, but you weren't helping to begin with. You had an idea, you don't know the situation, you don't know the risk involved, you don't know the stress involved. So no, if I reject your idea, I reject your idea.
Hmm. 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 And what sort of tools and strategies do you do to continue going on?
Well, yeah, if it's gonna be, it's up to me. The Holy Spirit. There's definitely guardian angels or some higher power watching over me so that I can move forward. So like this morning, I was like, my hips were in pain, complete pain. But then I had to pray. That moment, there's no other thing that's gonna stop that pain from coming except me breathing and then letting that higher power take over so that I can sit here today. And it was a definite message that God will provide, the government will not.
That's a great slogan. God will provide, the government will not. You need a t-shirt.
Okay, we'll make t-shirts about it. But
You need t-shirts. Some comments here. Heather Harris says dialogue is powerful, gives us the opportunity to deeply listen and perhaps connect with those who we may disagree. Also, Dr. Tachi says I think she's meant to say it's good to see Minnie back. That she said after that, good. She put good, corrected herself. We also have Heather Harris says, Ms. St. Clair is articulating how intersectionality is impacted by multiple forms of oppression. Whoa, Miss Harris is coming out strong today. What? And you know what's wild? There is an incredible amount of people watching this conversation on X/Twitter. It's like blowing up.
because I've been posting it every
Okay.
day since I got it.
Okay.
And because you have Kamala on next week, a lot of people in the disability community don't like her.
Well, I don't have her on next week. I have her.
I mean, I know.
An hour and 26 minutes.
when I saw it, it was like I think like whenever you posted it,
Yeah.
I shared it, but I shared it to people specifically that I know in the disability community that have a podcast. So they're probably more likely to be there. And then because a lot of people on disability don't have a job, but they have access to internet, I don't know how that stream is going to go.
Well, we're going to be talking about anti-racism, but thanks for giving me the
because she
warning.
represents she's representing the Canada Disability Benefit, and she shafted everybody with $200 a month, and she's hiding behind the $200 a month. She's literally keeping people poor. She's literally keeping people scared. She's literally telling people, oh, you know what? We're going to keep you in poverty longer. And then, oh, people are going to contemplate medical assisted and dying. I don't even think she understands what exactly it is to live with a disability to the point where you literally feel like you have no options to end your life. Like I was last month. It was, and a couple years before that. That feeling is not going away because my needs are not met.
All right. Let's get back to the entrepreneur thing. So people, you may want to check out the conversation I'm going to be having with Ms. Minister Kerr, because it looks like
I won't be there for it. I have an appointment. I have an appointment with my financial planner. I won't be there, but I've been sharing it. and I really don't know how that's going to go.
All right. No problem. So let me ask you then, this conversation piece, what are some of the financial challenges entrepreneurs with disabilities face, and how can they be addressed?
The clawbacks in the system, they're ridiculous. You literally, like the Canada Dental Plan, I have to apply for it before my dentist gives me dental services. They literally will not see me because my insurance is Ontario Disability Support Program now, because they made the Canada Dental Care Plan. Then they open it for people only with the disability tax credit. So because I'm lucky in that privilege, I have the disability tax credit. The minute that day opened, which was yesterday, I applied. And then as I'm reading through the terms and conditions for that policy, if I decide in the future to get a private health plan, because I need one for my prescriptions, I have to give up the Canada plan. But the Canada plan is purposely saying if I have health prescriptions but I don't have dental prescriptions, I'm opting out of the private one when I should have the private one versus the government one. But then my dentist is like, they don't want to service me because I'm only on Ontario Disability Support Program. So I always have to have 2 health insurance plans to cover all my dental expenses. And then the income support in CPP or your private disability insurance or social assistance, if you make too much money, they literally cut back what they give you in a way that you never get ahead. So like with Ontario Disability Support Program, it says now you can make $1,000. Before that, 2013, you made $200. If you made over $200, they cut you off.
Hold on. If you make over $200,
That was September 2013, that rule. They changed it February 2023. It took them 10 years to change that rule. And Americans are worse. You can only have $2,000 of assets.
wow. Heather Harris says capitalism. Capitalism. Wow. Why are these numbers so low?
Blame the people who made them. The
Okay.
only way those change, we have to continuously, regularly contact our MP and MPP over and over again that they're literally sabotaging their citizens that they claim they want us to vote. Okay, great, I can vote, but I'm not voting for people that keep me in disability poverty forever and ever in perpetuity.
Wow.
That doesn't help me. That doesn't make me want to participate in the democracy or any of those things at all.
So I have to say thank you, Minnie, for telling your community, because this is crazy. What's going like this is going like crazy right now on X/Twitter. So anyone who's watching on X/Twitter, hey, if you can, I don't mind you watching on Twitter, but if you can go to YouTube and watch, or even subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on the YouTube channel, much appreciated. But also, to have any comments, please put them on whatever platform you're watching on. So yeah, I'm puzzled about the numbers being so low. Like you can only make a certain amount. Like, let me ask conversation, how has being an entrepreneur impacted your personal growth and resilience?
For me, it's still something I do. For me now, it's like Russell Brunson had this Facebook ad for his Think and Grow Rich 3-day webinar, and I signed up for it, and it has this pop-up to upgrade to VIP for $47 US. I have a credit card with $180 Canadian on it. I can buy the ticket, but I'm maxing out my credit card. So I'm literally going into debt to do personal development, business development, to grow my business so that I have the skills and the mindset and the support and the community to continue on with my running my business. Most people on disability don't, because Ontario Disability Support Program right now is $1,308 a month.
Heather Harris has a question saying, who lobbies for you and your community, Ms. St. Clair? How effective is the lobby?
So I have Christian Wynn, I think her name is, for Toronto Center. She's a queer person, claims to work with entrepreneurship. She has letters She has letters. Whether or not she brings those topics up when she's speaking in her office, I have no idea. I write the letters. Whether they bring up my issue or not, I have no idea. Like, I know who to talk to in my writing for my political writing, but it doesn't mean they listen to me. The most listening of people is everybody on Twitter right now because I talk about it every day, sometimes multiple times a day. But politically, no, they're not listening. They're $200 a month for the Canada Disability Benefit that they took 4 years to make and drag out over and over and over again. Ontario only made an index to inflation because the last election with Doug Ford, because we had the pandemic and the amount of people that are on disability in the pandemic that were living off of $1,169 a month in the province of Ontario, Canada. Every province has a different number for the social assistance program for disability, and it's below the poverty line because we now know 1 in 4 Canadians are living below the poverty line because of Food Bank Canada that just made that study that 25% of Canadians are living below the poverty line because they determined there's 12 items for your living expenses that if you cannot afford 2 of them, you're in poverty.
You have a very strong mindset when it comes to entrepreneurship because you keep on going. Is in your community, especially the disability community, is that the norm or is this rare? Like, are most individuals in your community, do they have the resilience that you do?
No, they don't. They curl into a ball and cry. And they're waiting for Prince Charming to come rescue them. And there's no Prince Charming.
Wow. Heather Harris says, sorry to hear about these unacceptable conditions. Wow. They just curl up into a ball. Wow. What happens to them?
Well, I mean, during the pandemic, I had a substance habit, so that took over a good chunk of my life for 7 years or so. I got out of it. I went luckily I had access to a trauma and substance use program for 8 weeks. And then my family doctor, she's pretty amazing. If I call her right now, need an appointment, she'll fit me in for an appointment either by phone or in person. Sometimes if I go to the office and I wait there all day, she'll see me. But not everybody has those people in their corner. Like, I know where to go. I know which emergency rooms to go. Because of my mom being a nurse and an ER nurse, I know what times to go to the hospital because when nurses are fresher and more enthusiastic of giving care. But a lot of people don't have that experience or that background or that knowledge or that observation of the system. Because things I'm able to access with disability, like right now, Ontario Disability Support Program has an employment startup benefit that the wording says is for new employment, maintaining employment, and any activity that makes you employable in the marketplace. Some people have a caseworker that will not release that $500 once every 12 months, even though they're showing activity of being maintaining employment or any activity that has them being employed, or they give them half of it, or they give them $392. Like, if you're some of these caseworkers in the offices for Ontario Disability Program literally stop a person from being progressive. They stop their potential. We grow up as children being told you have so much potential, and then you go and stop my potential because I'm disabled. I mean, not Dr. Vi personality, but the people that are stopping me from accessing my potential.
Being an entrepreneur and disabled, are there any funding sources available?
Depends on the business. So for me in adult entertainment, there's not a bank is not going to give me a loan for adult entertainment business. They'll give me a loan for other things, but they won't give me a loan specifically if I have a business plan for an adult entertainment business. Even though the city of Toronto, like gentlemen clubs, they have to go through vigorous legal like the licensing, then they have to go through their liquor license, and if they're dancers, they go through their stripper license. Like before I get my stripper license, I have to do a police background check. Then before a club actually hires me to work in the club as an independent contractor, I have to have my stripper license. That police background check is $50. Then the dancer license, the exotic dancer license, is about $500 a year. It's this big, huge picture like you would see in the back of taxis that I have to have before I even walk into an establishment to work as an exotic dancer. So right there, $550 gone before a club hires me. And strip clubs are racist. They're not hiring a whole lot of people of color in the clubs. So, and the amount of strip clubs that we have, they're dwindling. So there's, I think, 5 left in Toronto. But they're not, if you go in there, it's mostly white people. It's not a whole lot of black people, not a whole lot of Asian people, because Asian people are typically in the massage parlors. So the entire sex worker industry doesn't have an anti-racism policy. There's none whatsoever. Oh yeah, we don't have any labor rights or employment rights, so we can't even ask for it because they won't recognize sex workers' work. But the amount of sex workers that have a disability that need to supplement their disability is a lot, because Vancouver Pace Society fully did a whole entire research, academic research on how many sex workers have a disability, and it's global.
So let me ask, outside of the sex industry, for disabled individuals who want to get into entrepreneurship, what access, if any, do they have to funding?
So I know there's risehelps.ca. They help people with mental health and addiction build their business plan. They have their own internal microloan funding, but your loan has to fit in their criteria for their for the business model. Same thing with Futurepreneur. Futurepreneur, they're 18 to 39. I'm 39 this year, so it makes no sense me applying for Futurepreneur because I'm 39. So for me to apply for funding from Futurepreneur, I have to do it now, then launch my business with them before December 31st. Actually, not even before I turn 40, which is in February, because of the time limit of funding and support. Some of these programs are just only 18 to 29 or 18 to 30. So a lot of the funding programs, if you're too old, you don't get access to funding. And then if you don't have a caseworker that lets you know what support services they offer internally, you don't know what it is. A lot of people don't search a lot for things that I search for. Like I know the city of Toronto has Enterprise Toronto. They do webinars all the time. They had CRA talk at their conferences a couple times a year for 3 hours, everything about the CRA, how they want people that have a business, but they're not a corporation. Then they have another webinar for people that are a corporation. Then there's a small business expo. Like I know where they are because I'm always looking for them, but a person with a disability who has an idea with the business, it doesn't know where to start. They don't even know where to look because they're so scared of talking to their caseworkers that they don't ask questions that better than themselves. Or they have family members that don't believe in certain things and their belief system passes on to their family members. So I know there's funding, like there's Ready and Willing and Able. They work with people with intellectual disabilities. They said that they have a stream for entrepreneurship, but it's really hard for some people with a disability to go through an employment agency and give it treated with respect and dignity because they typically put them in like factory jobs or cleaning jobs. They put them in any job available that doesn't actually expand their skills or their wishes or creates their vision for their life. Because I wouldn't work in office jobs to be an administrator, sit there at a receptionist all day. I wouldn't do it. Like I've done that, but I'm not doing it again. Like there's certain jobs I know I just won't do because I know I can do more. Like, the amount of jobs I was in that outbound sales, trying to bundle people's services for internet and telephone, I wouldn't do it. Like you couldn't get me to read the script. You couldn't get me to call the customers. You couldn't get me to, I just wouldn't. There's, because of lived experience and exploring other things and other companies that I know I can do better in a different environment. But if I was depending on the opinion of the caseworker from disability office or my family that thinks I have a limitation because of my disability, they'll literally stop me from exploring anything. Like me going skydiving. If you look at me and I have a disability and you're wondering how I'm skydiving, I skydive because at that time I was in remission of my multiple sclerosis and my mental disorder of bipolar disorder was stable, so I went skydiving. But after skydiving, I went back and relapse. But that moment of me skydiving, people think I'm not disabled. So like just that, like this whole thing, we have services, the services don't always expand someone's knowledge or awareness. Like some people think entrepreneurship is only Uber and DoorDash. No, it's not. There's so many other things out there, but they limit people's thing because of their awareness. If I bring something to a company like network marketing companies, the multi-level marketing companies, there are thousands of them around the world. Clearly people are making money because there's so many of them around the world. But if I go tell my caseworker or disability I want to be in a multi-level marketing company, they'll tell me, oh, it's a scam. You shouldn't do that. But I already made money in the company. So I'm always facing a barrier from somebody who doesn't live my life, giving me an opinion because their personal bias, where I already have experience, I already have results, I already made an income from a certain industry, and I'm going to pursue it. But I literally have to fight other people with an opinion that won't want me to expand.
Do you network with other entrepreneurs with disabilities? And if you do, what sort of conversations are you having with them?
Not a whole lot. And it's mostly because, like, one person I met, she's a coach, but she doesn't believe in charging or increasing her pricing. She keeps it low. So if you keep your income low, you remain below $30,000. I'm very happy to charge people $1,000. Like it's or more, and $1,000 American. I'm not charging people $1,000 Canadian if I can charge them US dollars. Because $1,000 US is about 1,300 Canadian. Like when I send people links to products and services, I don't necessarily tell them it's American money or Canadian money. They figure it out when they go through checkout. But some people have issues with money in general that they don't charge what they're worth. They don't charge market value. They don't charge a progressive capitalistic pricing.
In your entrepreneurial journey, what resources have been helpful? Resources and services.
I go with entrepreneurs that don't necessarily openly have a disability. So I go in spaces of able-bodied people, at least they present themselves as able-bodied people. The reason why I say that, there's some people who are entrepreneurs who have like celiac, or they've been through cancer, or they've been through a family member's suicide experience, but they don't talk about it. So I know there's people that live with disability or their family members with disability, but they don't openly talk about it because they're programmed to be hustle culture and not weak. It's a programming that we have in our culture that doesn't openly have people talking about their weaknesses or their limitations to the point where we're always producing and being productive, when that we know that is breaking down people. Like the pandemic showed that we're breaking down people, and then the results of people that had long COVID, they're not going to be able to access disability. The government doesn't want to give it to them. So anybody with long COVID and the symptoms of long COVID, they're going to go through the same battle that I already did. Because there's a person now that I'm talking to who's just going through applying for disability from her employer and then social assistance. She doesn't have a doctor that wants to fill out the forms. She doesn't have an employer that wants to just automatically settle and to give her disability benefits. They're dragging it out longer, which means that stress in the body makes you weaker.
Heather Harris says, pure exploitation, even when seeking to be empowered. Fitness IQ Cam says $1,000 US dollars hits different. And Opal Aspire says, unfortunately, this is capitalism at its best. I don't know, either it's best or it's worse. The poorer you are kept, the more you are kept in place and desperate for any job available in the job market. if you can get it.
Yeah, and we know with Canada bringing in so many immigrants that the job market is not equal. Like if they only have 200 positions and 30,000 people show up,
Well,
somebody's not getting a job.
also, I want to shout out Leslie Yaffa giving a like on Facebook. Good to see you, Yaffa. Always good to see you, whether you're in Canada or Jamaica. You're either in one of those two places most of the time. And it's interesting, just a sidelight about immigrants. You don't hear that term so much anymore. You hear new Canadians.
Well, they're also migrant workers, but it's whatever the word we're giving them. If they're coming to the country because we're told the country's the best that it is, they're not getting housing. They're not getting medical right away. They're not getting mental health support right away. They're not getting the services that the citizens that live there. Like I'm born in Canada and I'm fighting to get services that my country says is available to me because I'm born here. Like I'm born. If I get deported, you're deporting me to Toronto, Canada. That's where I'm. That's where I hatched. That's where like that like. But I can't access things where I live, that I'm born, that my parents met. They came from Jamaica as teenagers to Toronto, met in Toronto, had me. I'm first generation. I don't have access to the things that I need as a person who's first generation.
Have you, and just going back to what I mentioned a few moments ago, so you have very little communication with other entrepreneurs with disabilities, correct?
I do, and it's a combination of they don't think like I do. They don't think bigger, so I don't. And then because of the nature of their disability, depending on what their disability is,
Right.
they just probably don't have the energy to meet other people.
But with those you speak with, is there a desire to be an entrepreneur?
They already came that way. They came as entrepreneurs, so the desire was already there, and they figured out how to make it reality. But I'm getting people that are desperate to make money messaging me that don't have money to start a business, and the businesses that I'm involved in don't necessarily fit into a business plan where you can get a loan to start that business. So I need people that are already employed, making some type of money, or they have some type of money, or they have people that give them money for their business that are able to take off like a plane. Like it's if they're still like not igniting the engine to start and they want something, it becomes very difficult of talking with them. Because like there's some people I've talked to where she runs a law firm, her husband is disabled, but she's so burnt out that she's not making sure the law firm is always profitable and always growing. And then because it's a couple, so with couples that are on Ontario Disability Program, the spouse that's making money, the whole household gets cut after $200. That's in the policy right now. So I mostly talk about as an individual because I'm an individual on Ontario Disability Program. But for couples, if your spouse is disabled and they access ODSP, but you're still married or common law, the spouse that's working, their income reduces the household disability income once it's over $200 by 50%. And then an individual, if you make $1,000 and every dollar over $1,000, they reduce your disability income by 75%. And a lot of things in the policy for Ontario Disability Support Program, they'll change it and they'll never announce it.
I'm just trying to figure out why the limits.
Ask the government. We can say why all we want, but people we voted for decided these things. And we keep voting for them and they keep deciding these things. So if we're wondering the why this is limiting, why this is hard, why can I access this? We're voting people who made these decisions. I didn't vote for them. I'm not really like, I'm voting for people like Mike, Green Party. I don't remember his name. Glasses, brown hair. He wants to double ODSP. People at NDD party, they want to double ODSP. Liberal Party want to increase it by 10%. Conservatives want to increase it by 5%. Because Doug Ford won, we got that little small 5% increase, an index to inflation. But we're assuming that's going to stay that way. The next political party could change it and stop it all over again.
True. 100%. 100%. We're doing a reset. We'll go on for another few moments. We are talking with Minnie St. about disability and entrepreneurship. I want to thank everyone who's watching live. Keep the comments coming in. Now, again, lots of engagement going on. We thank you for taking the most important thing you have in your day, your time, to be part of this epic conversation. What suggestions would you give to disabled individuals who want to start their own business?
They have to be really clear on what they want to do. Because it's not just, oh, I want a business. It's not going to make you money because you want the business. You have to work your business to make money. Like with me, people paying me for coaching is because I send them the invoice that said, this is what the service is, this is how much it costs, and they pay for it. Or if I make a sale on my webcam site, it's because a customer clicked the button buy now and is connected to their credit card, and that commission sale is credited to me, and at the end of the pay period, I'm paid. So entrepreneurship, there's no boss telling you what your job is. You literally have to wake up every day, plan your day, know you're making money. How many leads do you talk to? How many people are booked in your Calendly? Are you offering them products that they have to purchase? And then you have to do that every single day. Because it's not like when I worked at a call center where I show up in the call center, I logged in, and my whole job, $15 an hour, was to talk to customers until 4 p.m. and go home. Like this whole day. So I did the podcast, I meet with my financial planner, then I have to make sure I log on and make my YouTube content, because my YouTube, I'm in the YouTube partner program on my YouTube channel. That is based on views of my YouTube channel. As long as I keep uploading content that fits the policy program for the partner program, and as long as people view the channel without blocking the ads, the revenue in there adds up in that account. And when it reaches $100, YouTube pays me. It says Google in my bank statement. Like, because I did work, continuous work over and over again to get YouTube to pay me. But YouTube didn't tell me what to do. Like, they have a guideline. I follow the guideline, and I do the job. Like talking to customers that are paying me for coaching services, that's a lot of work. I have to meet a lot of people. Then eventually I meet someone who pays me for my coaching services. Then I'm helping them with either navigating the disability policy, navigating with their personal finance, that they're paying me. And then my buy me a coffee, same thing. Somebody has to click the buy me a coffee button connected to their PayPal, Stripe, whatever account, click checkout, and that money lands in my account. And then after it clears for 7 to 30 days, because they want to make sure there's no refunds, then it's in my bank account. But again, buy me a coffee is not telling me to do that. It's I actively did it. I actively promote it. I actively engage in the community. I actively build customers. Either I build followers that follow my social media that boost up the YouTube channel, or I'm building customers that actually buy a product or service that I recommend.
Cool, family. Hey, people, reach out, have some questions, have some comments. Just want to make sure everyone's out there. Make it happen. This is so good, such a good, rich conversation that you probably don't hear on many platforms out there.
No, we're left out of almost all conversations. Like personal finance doesn't talk about people with a disability. They act as if you're healthy forever, and then you might need disability. They never talk about a person that is already disabled. I became disabled in my 20s. I left home at 18, then I'm trying to work, then I became disabled. I didn't have access to an employer that gave me disability insurance. I had to go on social assistance. And then now I'm 39, going on 40, and the rest of my life is permanently prolonged with the disability that I forever have to do a multiple sclerosis follow-up MRI and blood work to monitor the progression of my disability. I didn't ask for any of those things. So when people were telling me when I was 20, oh, you have so much time, you're so good. No, I didn't. That, the level of people thinking because they're healthy, they're fine. No, your disability can hit you at any time in your life, or you're born with one. And then people literally look at you, oh, you're not disabled enough. You don't look like you have a disability. What does that actually look like? Because politicians are literally making decisions that are making it harder to apply for disability benefits because they don't want to support people with a disability, or the people applying for a disability, they reject their application, make you reapply. And then you literally have people saying, oh, it's all in your head. Oh, like, no.
It's all in your
Why
head.
if it's all in my head, why did you scan my body for the MRI? So for me, with disability part, it's I live it every day. But I have a short fuse of people coming in with their opinion when they don't live with the challenges. Because they're not doing anything to stop the challenges. They're not talking to people in policy. They're not talking to social workers. They're not talking to doctors who blatantly stop a person from applying for the disability tax credit because they don't believe they're disabled enough. Like, if you have family members that go to a doctor and need the disability tax credit filled out, and that doctor is stopping them from filling out the form, you need to be there with that person to get the doctor to fill out the form. Because the gatekeeper is the doctor, the healthcare professional, filling out the Part B of the disability tax credit form that then gets sent to CRA, that then gets reevaluated by a person in office who probably doesn't have a disability, using the criteria checklist to say, yes, you're approved, no, you're denied. And if you're denied, you're going to legal aid, you're going to a lawyer, you're redoing the form all over again, while living with the disability that your primary care physician probably diagnosed as a disability. They're prescribing you all the prescriptions. They're prescribing you a treatment plan that you probably can't afford.
Take a quick break here. So Dr. Chachi says, we are here just listening. And a lot of people seem to be listening because there's a lot of people listening to this conversation right now. Shirley J says, dang. And says, also learning so much right now. Shirley J leads the Black Canadian content creators. So support. Let me ask you, what are some practical, okay, let me know, actually goes, how do you see the landscape for disabled entrepreneurs evolving in the next few years?
I don't see that it is.
Oh.
Because, like, for me to report my income to Ontario Disability Support Program, I need a caseworker that read Section 5.4 self-employment. Then I need a caseworker that understands basic bookkeeping and accounting to understand what is my income versus my expenses and then my net profit, so they can properly process my file. If it fits under $1,000 net income, is it over $1,000? Then, because Section 5.4 self-employment doesn't recognize all of the business expenses that CRA determined as business expenses, I literally have to fight for all the business expenses that the Ontario Disability Support Program doesn't recognize as business expenses. So if they don't recognize my income tax installments as a business expense, because it's one of those things they don't recognize, and travel for business, they don't recognize those two things. So that income I spend on business travel or paying my income taxes and installments becomes income, which means I get pushed off a disability sooner because they're not recognizing all of the expenses. If they recognize all of the expenses, I could actually plan out leaving disability on my own terms properly, because I'm properly operating my business as you're supposed to as a capitalist venture entrepreneur. So great, we have capitalism, but we have policies that literally don't want to participate in it. So I learned in accounting class the proper form of accounting: income minus expenses equals net profit. I know finance is in chat. She does bookkeeping every single day, but She does bookkeeping for her clients. If they're on ODSP, they literally cannot submit all of those expenses because the caseworker won't recognize it because the policy doesn't say so. That is something you have to contact your MP and change, but nobody is doing that. I'm writing the letter because I know that's my problem. I know that's my barrier. I know that's my challenge, but other people have to do it. If it's only me saying Section 5.4 self-employment ODSP is not recognized the same way as the CRA for businesses, they're not going to change it.
Gotcha. 100%. So Heather Harris says the frustration alone must add to stress and illness.
It does, because I started this thing positive and I went on a complete rant.
Oh my goodness. So then let me ask, what are some practical tips for disabled individuals who want to start their own business?
Do it. Do not let anybody in disability stop you. Like,
Okay.
if you really believe God will provide, not the government, you cannot listen to someone who works for the government.
Short and sweet. How can aspiring entrepreneurs with disabilities leverage their unique perspectives and experiences in their business?
So there's a whole wave of disability coaches. And then I end up landing on a man with cerebral palsy who actually runs his business with a spokesperson who speaks on his behalf in the sales videos, Serona V. And his last name looks like Versace, but it's not Versace. It's just like his business. He wrote a book. He has coaching courses. He has an online course, and he did it when he was able to do it, or he had a business partner launch it for him. Where when I look for disability entrepreneurship, he shows up in my timeline and social media. So like the way that you would think with cerebral palsy, because they don't have a lot of motor function and muscle movement. They don't really talk really well. But he figured out how to use his message of changing your narrative into an entrepreneurship venture with business partners that support it. That means you have to build your confidence, your assertiveness, your articulation to speak to other people if you have a business idea that you want to launch, but you don't know how to launch it. Because there's no new ideas. Everything is just rinse and repeat. Put it in a different color, like the black unicorn. Like that, the unicorn's always been there, but somebody decided to brand it as a black unicorn and made it into a really big business. So because we have no new businesses, we just need to be connected to the people that will help you launch the business, but help you launch the business in a way that they understand that if you're on Ontario Disability Support Program, you are forever connected to that policy. Like me being on ODSP, if I want to be off of ODSP, I need income. I cannot be connected to an organization that's going to claim they're helping me, but they give me gift cards. Gift cards don't support me. They support the corporation who made the gift card. So if you're giving me a PC Financial gift card of $150, claiming you're helping me because I'm on disability, you're actually not. We need to figure out how I can get income in my bank accounts over the asset limits from ODSP that they already determined, they're already there. I legally already signed, I agree. April 2011, when I got approved for ODSP and I went into the office to figure out what my application is and accessing support programs in the Ontario Disability Program, I had to sign my life away. They check my credit report, they check my bank account, they check my taxes, they want to know if I'm married, they want to know if I have children, they want to know every aspect of my life that I'm forever tied to until I turn 65. And even then, I'm still tied to it because they can go back and audit me and then claim I have to pay them all back the money they gave me if they find a reason for it. So I'm literally always defending my situation, my position on social assistance, while also doing the normal, regular people milestones of pressured by society as this is the deemed successful, because that's our society is. We made these really absurd milestone expectations that not everybody can fulfill, but we're still expected to fulfill them anyway.
Shirley J says, I think I corrected every time everything you mention is a constant reminder of how supremacy and capitalism don't have a conscience within the system to think in a more convenient way in order to make it easy for you, and that is sad. Heather Harris is saying blessings to you, and also Shirley J has a question. Would you know of a website that has examples or templates we can use to email our MLAs regarding this issue in order to support disabled entrepreneurs?
No, I literally write an emotional letter and get ChatGPT to edit it, and I send it to the government. So, like,
You know what? You know what? I have an interesting suggestion. Sending them a video message. We can talk about this offline, but sending them a video message, and there's software out
you're
there.
speaking to Kamala next. You're literally speaking to the woman next that actually speaks to the federal government.
I'm talking about you, not me this time. Sending her a video message, I can do it with you, and that would notify you when it gets opened.
Yeah, but
Just a
open doesn't
thought.
mean that it's watched.
That's all. No, it's all right. But see, when you send an email, unless you put read receipt, you don't know if the person's opened it or not.
Actually,
But that
Wistia lets you know how many people watch the video and for how long.
okay. So there's different softwares out there. That's one of them. So I think, but that's if you want to, we could work on that on the back channels if you'd like. Also for you, looking back, what has been the most rewarding part of your entrepreneurial journey?
I have money. I didn't have, like, 2018, 2019, I was going to high interest loans, easy financial, 29% interest. Then December 2019, I filed a consumer proposal. Then the pandemic happened. I qualified for all the government money that was given out at that time, and I invested it. I resubmitted my application for the disability tax credit. It got approved. I opened the account. I now have regular meetings with my financial planner. I literally have a financial planner that's telling me the performance of my portfolio. I didn't have that before. I didn't think it was possible before. I literally thought because I'm getting $1,169 a month that I can never do anything whatsoever. I would pay my rent, get 1 week of groceries, and sit down in my apartment and cry. Like, physically cry, because after I paid my rent and after I paid my tenant insurance and my electricity bill, I had 1 week of groceries. That's it. A lot of people on disability are living like that today, because today is the payment date for Ontario Disability Support Program. They don't have any money by the end of today. They're getting $1,308 for the month of July. Then July 31st, it increases by 4.5%, which is roughly $60. And then because I have an overpayment that I owe the government money from money I got too much money from another program, so they gave me an overpayment for how much I got from ODSP. So they take back $71.85. The increase that they do in July, that's indexed to inflation, they also increase the amount they take back for the overpayment. So I never actually get my full disability payment ever anymore until that's paid to zero. And then we're assuming everything goes perfectly well, that I don't increase it into an overpayment in the future. Like, this is the rest of my life. It doesn't go away because you have a fancy idea.
Facts. So as we close it up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our family today about your experiences or the topic of disability and entrepreneurship?
You need to get the government to understand how they treat self-employment, and Ontario Disability Program is different than CRA. Like, people that have basic bookkeeping knowledge, accounting knowledge, business knowledge, you can read section 5.4 self-employment in Ontario Disability Support Program. Read through it. You'll see it's different than the CRA website. Because the guide for T2125 business professionals and activities tax document on CRA, which you can find it on the TurboTax blog, are completely different wording. The guide is different than section 5.4 self-employment, Ontario Disability Support Program. Then it's different for British Columbia. Then it's different for Nova Scotia. Then it's different for Alberta. It's different across the entire country. That's one basic step. if you can read it or get AI to read it for you, you'll see they're two different things.
All right, young lady. So a few things. Are you open to people contacting you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put your email address in on all the platforms where people are watching this, first of all. And also, I'm going to put it on the screen. Okay, let's do this. If you want to contact Minnie. Okay, let's do that. And there we go. So if you want to touch base with me, Minnie, it's on the screen. minnieoncam@gmail.com. Also on most of the platforms that you're watching this live on the replay, it is in the comments section. So we launched this as a monthly conversation, and it looks, at least by the numbers I'm seeing right now, people are watching. So Minnie, if she's up to it, will be back next month to
Yes,
look
the
at a
next
different
payment date of Ontario Disability Support Program.
Yeah, maybe that's what we do right on that day, with another conversation topic in regards to the world of disabilities. So Minnie, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to share with us today.
Like every time I do this, either I'm like angry or super motivated by my progress. So we never know what's going to come out when I talk about this subject.
100%. Well, you have a safe embrace place here, and there's definitely people in the audience are here listening and hopefully taking action. So as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. Au revoir. And calm down. All right, family. What a great conversation, eh? This was outstanding today. Minnie brought the fire. And I got to say a special shout out to all the people on X/Twitter who watched this live because of Minnie. Not because of me. It was because of her. So thank you so much. What I will say, though, is I want to encourage you, if you're watching this on X/Twitter, to subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button so you get notified of all these epic conversations. And a special plug, because we're about 30 subscribers away from 1,500 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're up to it, I'd appreciate that. And also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You want to advertise your business, product, or service on the platforms that I host or produce, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me, dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. That's where we continue the conversation in between epic conversations. And I got it back out. Now, this is one of the things I'm doing over this long weekend. Start posting some of the replays of the conversations in that place so you can watch them. What else? Oh, program alert. As Minnie mentioned, in about 37 minutes time, I'm going to have a live conversation with the Honorable Minister Kamal Kara, who is the Canadian Minister of Diversity, Inclusion, and Persons with Disabilities. We're going to be talking about their recently announced, Liberal government recently announced, Federal Liberal Party, announced their anti-racism policy. So check that out. Live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. That's going to be June 29th. Primetime Saturday with Aisha Lala. They're going to break down last night's U.S. presidential debate and other stories. Very interesting to get their perspectives on last night's debate. And a few things. If you want to get a hold of my co-host, Ryan Knight, RyanOneilKnight.com, LinkedIn, Ryan Oneil Knight, Instagram at Ryan.Knight99, and email address work with me at RyanOneilKnight.com. And if you want to get a hold of me, website, thedrvibeshow.com, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, the drvibeshow.com show, Instagram at the drvibeshow, and X/Twitter, where many people are watching today, at drvibeshow, and email address dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. Also, you can listen to a lot of these epic conversations on your favorite podcasting platform. And scrolling along the bottom, there are all the different places where you can watch replays. The Morning Vibe on YouTube and Facebook, Afro Caribbean Business Network on Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube and LinkedIn. That's it. So if you're watching this live, we will be doing a replay of the Morning Vibe on Monday because it is a holiday. Next Friday, Wayne Harris is back with Financial First Fridays with Wayne Harris. He's going to be talking about, I can't remember. I said at the beginning, be talking about something. I think it's Financial Concepts Part 1. Also, coming up on Tuesday evening, I have Dr. Roz Roach, who's going to be talking about violence and violence against domestic violence against women. And she has a play that's going to be performing at the end of next week. So follow me on all the platforms. You'll see the conversation happening with that and all the different things in between. All right, before I leave, there's a number of comments. So Dr. Tachi says, what a conversation. Also goes, oh boy. And Minnie on Cam is commenting, that's me. And also says, Minnie on Cam, thanks for watching me. See you all next month on the last Fridays of each month. So she's claiming it, family. Last Friday of each month is done now. And then finally, Minnie on Cam, it gets a thanks so much from Dr. Tachi. So as we close out, and as I take a break before Minister Kara comes on the platform, let's do it like this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. God bless. Peace you all. Keep the faith. Walk good. And we'll chat with you soon. Thank you so much for all the epic conversation today. It was massive. It was massive. So let me just say au revoir. I got to get ready for my next conversation. See ya.